Of course, it's the IPL season, and we are in full flow. Half the regular season is done, and we do not have a clear winner yet. How can we have it? It's going to be one of the most tightly contested IPL. And we are not complaining, because here we are discussing how things went by in those first 7 rounds. Let the drum rolls begin. Hi, hello, and welcome to our latest episode of our podcast, House Stat, your window to the world of cricket and stats, brought to you by FlashCric. I'm your host, Sridhar Bhamidi.
And I'm Chris Hinz.
We are at the midway point of the IPL group stages as teams are gearing up for the final pushes. To say that this has been a closely fought edition will not be doing justice to the action we have had so far. 3 teams on 10 points each, 3 more not far off. Even the bottom ranked team is just 3 wins away from storming into the top 4 bastion. As a cricket lover, that's the best thing to happen. Almost like watching Yuvraj Singh hit Stuart Broad for 6 sixes, unless of course you are Broad or Flintoff. Today, we have a special guest with us who brings with him excellent working knowledge from the Indian sports industry. It's our pleasure to invite Subhayan Chakraborty. Subhayan, welcome to the show and thanks for coming.
Thank you so much, Chris and Sridhar. Miss those press box vibes, rushing for press conferences, rushing for some special stories. So that is a missing element this time. But then we are thankful that we can witness a bit of cricket.
I will probably love the heavy artillery coming up, but let me be a bit generous and throw the hand grenade first. Were you expecting the tournament table to be like this at half stage?
I predicted Mumbai Indians, Delhi Capitals, RCB, and KKR to be in the top. And right now, the first half ended up as I would have wished before the tournament. Maybe I would have taken KKR a spot above, but then we have seen some close matches. Is nothing short of being close to a perfect tournament so far.
I know the Corbo Lorbo Jeetbo fan in you saying that KKR needed to be at the top of the table. But let's look at the other side. Another team looking for some inspiration is Kings 11 Punjab. Something that is inherently wrong with their fortunes because look at those super over misses. Then they ran against Rahul Tevatia. The Harakiri they performed against KKR. Again, they gave you 2 easy points. Effectively, they could have been 6 points more, and that could be near top four. So, are these signs that Kings 11 are not having that mental strength to walk the last mile?
Absolutely, Sridhar. I completely agree with you that if they had won those close games, things would have been different for them right now. But then it's about winning those small moments in T20 cricket. But then Kings 11 Punjab, I think those close defeats have taken a mental toll on the players, on the coaching staff, on the leadership group. They have played some good cricket, but then it has been about KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal rather than the entire Kings 11 squad.
Yeah, just on that mention about Kings 11, in terms of the leading run scorers this tournament, KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal are the top two in the table this season. So, as you say, it's really just been down to those two. And for the rest of the list, the innings has just fallen away. And we saw that the other night against KKR, where they were in a great position and with that many wickets in hand and only 5 overs to go just to see the chase out. They really should have done it.
I think we should try to take KKR out of the equation here because Shubhayan doesn't like to be reminded that they were close to losing out to Kings 11 Punjab.
I was absolutely furious in that match.
Even KL Rahul went the MS Dhoni way and said that strike rate is overrated in T20s. It's almost like hearing David Warner say that right arm fast bowling is a joke. Moving on to the other Rahul, who could soon be the first Rahul. How good has Rahul Tevatia been for the Royals? Boy, what a season he's having. From being 8 of 19 and struggling to get bat on the ball, he scored 5 sixes of Salute Cottrell and ended with 53 of 31 balls. And then, of course, his excellent rearguard win with Rian Parag against the Sunrisers. So, are we witnessing a new T20 phenomenon for India?
If you look at his first class record, also, he hasn't played that much of cricket. Like, you wouldn't bet Rahul Tevatia to be the man to rescue Rajasthan Royals from their agony of their past. But then what he has done, what sheer level of determination, never say die attitude, and I mean that is the essence of sport. But then it is about longevity, the consistency. Cannot be just one tournament sensation and just fade away next.
Oh, yeah. And we all loved that Bihu dance from Parag, except, of course, Khalil Ahmad and Davy Warner. Although someone from the Sunrisers camp tells me that Warner has already got an imitation dance ready with his wife and kids for the Bihu dance. So watch out for his Instagram update. Speaking of updates, one player who may not have updated is Sanju Samson. Has he been burdened by the thought of being the best Indian wicketkeeper batsman? Has Gautam Gambhir's tweet done him more disservice than otherwise by that hype?
If you see Sanju Samson, he has played 7 matches so far and has only 2,202 runs. I mean, he played two blinder of knocks to start the IPL, but then he stuck there only. So if you have to take that, as I have been saying in past also, you can't be a 1 match or 2 match sensation and fade away after that.
I know Sanju Samson and consistency are like Manchester United and transfer windows. Both pairs promise so much, start on a positive note, and then show their true colors. One team really transforming their colors is Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Is this going to be RCB's season? For a change, they seem to have a settled squad.
Well, yes, they do, Shida. They have some very good stats to back up their performance. They have a very poor start, unusually, from the captain, Virat Kohli. I think at one stage he was averaging around 15 at the beginning of the tournament. Well, just to show how far they've come, he's now averaging 64, and he's been partnered most of the time when he's been doing well by AB de Villiers. He's averaging 57 with 228 runs this season, and he now has, as of last night, the record for the most man of the match awards in the history of the IPL at this stage, with 22 man of the match awards. So it's Virat and AB leading from the front as usual, but also one of your favourites, Shooter, I know Devdutt Padikkal has been doing superbly well, and as has Aaron Finch. Aaron Finch has not been going at the same strike rate as he normally does, but he's still not doing too badly in terms of consistency, and he's a really good senior partner for young Padikkal at the top of the order.
It's interesting to see how RCB can continue to oscillate between either extremes. Either they're really very, very good or they're very, very poor.
When you see Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers coming back to back, I think each and every team will have that factor in mind. So I think RCB have that advantage over other teams, and now that they are coming so well together, I think they have all the ability to go all the way.
Hmm. Talking about being scared, I think someone in KKR camp is also scared. Your very own captain Dinesh Karthik might be looking behind his shoulders for a particular Arn Morgan. And probably Morgan's shadow is a bigger concern for DK than his side's fortunes. What's happening, Shubhayan?
It is the same as RCB. When you look at that batting unit, you see okay. We have the likes of Owen Morgan, Dinesh Karthik, Andre Russell, three of the most potent T20 batsmen.
DK will buy you a dinner, Shubhayan, for linking him between Arn Morgan and Andre Russell as the most potent T20 cricketers.
The likes of Andre Russell hasn't fired at all in this tournament with the bat. But if Andre Russell or Morgan build their performances with their talent, with their presence only, I think if KKR can see these two players in form, they have the ability, they have the quality. And now that the bowling attack is also doing reasonably well, I feel if these two players can perform, they have the talent, they have the explosiveness to go a long way in this tournament. But then again, those crucial decisions, as I said, winning those small moments will be the key.
Chris, are there any stats about how teams that have fared in the first half have improved or decelerated in the second half of the season?
Well, there's certainly something to say for teams petering away at the end of tournaments and not so much for the recent editions, but particularly at the beginning of the IPL, at the very start in the first few years, we saw teams like RCB and Mumbai go on a tear at the beginning. And I think in the first few seasons, especially Mumbai, they started very poorly and then went on a late run.
Right. So, Subhayan, who are your top four going to be from here on?
The table, as I said earlier as well, I predicted these four to be the final top four.
Just to tease you, I think I will back Sunrisers Hyderabad to beat your hometown KKR so that I can give you a call and say, hey, Hyderabad defeated Kolkata.
I'm all in for good cricket, Sridhar.
Chris, who are your top four going to be?
Well, I think we've had a big discussion on RCB, and I think they're probably the danger team. So they're probably my number one favourites. But I do think Mumbai and the Capitals are very good. And then I think it'll be tight for the other spot. But I'm probably leaning towards the Sunrisers.
Come down to Hyderabad and I'll buy you a biryani, Chris.
I love the Hyderabadi biryani.
Now, Shubhayan, let's move on to individual players. Can you name three Indian players who lived up to your pre-tournament expectations?
Yuzvendra Chahal, number one here. He is one of the best leg spinners going around in the world. Washington Sundar, I have been left very, very impressed. But then again, Devdutt Padikkal has been the star, the young star. Shubman Gill has reasonably done well, but Devdutt Padikkal has been the standout star so far in this tournament. If you talk about the domestic players,
I was worried for a moment why you are not bringing up any KKR players, but then you had to sneak in Shubman Gill, right? For me, the three players are, of course, Padikkal. I've been a big fan of him. I followed him earlier, and we were betting big on him coming out good. Then Shreyas Iyer. I'm impressed with his captaincy skills. He's been managing a squad which has got different personalities, different levels of international experience, and I'm a big fan of Surya Kumar Yadav from the time he left out KKR.
yes, obviously.
No, nothing on KKR, but even when he was with KKR, I felt Surya Kumar Yadav is one guy in the Indian domestic scene who hasn't got his due yet. So watch out for that guy. Chris, who are your three Indian players who lived up to your pre-tournament expectations?
The expectation that was required of Devdutt Padikkal, and having not seen him before, some of his innings have been really revelationary to me. I'm quite impressed, especially the other day with the way Natarajan has bowled, and he's really shown a lot of maturity with his line and lengths and choosing the right options when they're needed. And I know it's not necessarily a new young talent or anything spectacular. And I know that it was someone who didn't start off the tournament very well, but of course, Bumrah is always there when the best bowlers are in the conversation.
Boom, boom, Bumrah. He will always be there somewhere near the top. So, one player whom I am going to watch with intent is Varun Chakraborty. Not just because out of courtesy that he nearly shares the same last name as Shubhayan, but because of his confidence.
I really can't wait for Padikkal to make his Indian debut.
So my pick would be Natarajan for sure because the way he has bowled, and also he brings that left arm angle to the game.
Shubhayan, it's a great pleasure having you today on this episode. We've been really happy to hear out your views, especially your non KKR views. I know we'll take your KKR views with a pinch of salt, but it's a great IPL and a great discussion with you so far. We hope that your pre tournament table will stick up just like it did until now. Fingers crossed on that. But thank you very much for being part of this show, and we hope that you'll come back on this platform sometime later.
Thank you, Sridhar. Great chat about cricket, about IPL. We are lucky, we are thankful to watch cricket again after all these tough months, and I hope things get back to normal.
Okay, folks, that was Shubhayan with his inputs on how the IPL has been this season. Well, now it is time for Chris to belt out his news about what's happening around in the world of cricket. Chris, your 60-second window starts now.
Glenn Maxwell is disappointed with his lack of form in this IPL. Mickey Arthur suggests that the Sri Lankan tours that are coming up will go ahead, although there is doubt about the England tour. Babar Azam considers himself very lucky to lead Pakistan at home in the upcoming matches. Chris Gale is likely to be available for Kings 11 Punjab in their next game. Babar Azam has been in great form of recent times and will be leading from the front the next time Pakistan play. Ian Healy is considering playing for the performing as a selector for the Cricket Australia board. Michael Neser has been turning out some great performances in the Australian domestic scene. Chris Lynn is going to be a key performer in this year's upcoming BBL, despite saying it is the golden goose that has cooked itself.
There you go. That brings us to an end to this special episode on IPL. Hope you have all liked it. Let us know your thoughts and buzzers if you want to join us on the future episodes.